Today, on Running to Him,
Solomon conscripted workers to help build the temple. So likewise we believers are conscripted by God to do His will and His work. And this is the devotion for 7/27. Today's reading is 1 Kings chapter 5, and we'll be concentrating on verses 13 and 14 and 17 and 18. 1 Kings 5, 13 through 14 and 17 through 18 says this: Now King Solomon levied forced laborers from all Israel, and the forced laborers numbered 30,000 men, and he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month in relays, and they were in Lebanon a month, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the forced laborers. And the king commanded, and they quarried great stones and costly stones to lay the foundations of the house with cut stones. So Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders and the Gebalites cut them and prepared the timber and the stones to build the house. Now, in November 1969, I received a letter from the draft board thanking me for volunteering for my 2 years of service in the military. What the letter said was accurate. By my registering for the draft, I volunteered my time in the United States military. Just because my registering for the draft was compulsory, I voluntarily signed my name on the dotted line as a duty for my being an American citizen. Solomon drafted some 30,000 men to go to Lebanon to help with the timber cutting for the temple. He rotated those men so that every month in groups of 10,000. We today might look aghast at what he did, but those who have served in the military, both drafted when there was draft and volunteers, recognize that service to their country is one of both duty and cost. We don't believe these conscripts were given any wages for their work, but obviously they were fed and housed during their time in Lebanon. In addition, Solomon did something very wise. He rotated the men so that they worked 1 month out of every 3. This rotation was a brilliant move as it allowed them to care for their families for the other 2 months that they were home. When people are conscripted for doing something, it is wise to give them something to make that conscription more easily suffered. But there's another aspect of the conscription that many don't realize: pride and accomplishment. I'm proud I had a chance to serve my country. It allowed me to see that my freedom is not free. There is a time that I suffered so that I can now have the freedoms which I have. Frankly, this is missing in people's lives today. Now, it doesn't cost anything for most people to live in the United States today. That lack of cost allows people to have a demanding attitude about life. If something costs nothing, its value is perceived as nothing. If everything is given to us, we value it less than if we work for it. I imagine that those who worked on the temple, no matter how small that tasks were proud when they saw the finished product, as were their children. My father-in-law helped build several small churches nestled in the mountains of Crete. While I haven't been inside any of them, as Tony and I have passed them on the road while driving, Tony has mentioned them with significant pride in the voice, and rightly so. Her father helped build a lasting memory of God for those villages which didn't have a physical church. When we accept God's forgiveness and invitation to be rejoined to Him, we should accept the fact that we have been conscripted into His army to do His will, not ours.
Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.